Scheduled council meeting of the 17th of June 2025, which is being held in person in the council chamber at Civic Centre, 25 Ferris Boulevard, South Morang. This meeting is also being live streamed. I am Councillor Martin Taylor, the Mayor of the City of Whittlesea, and I would like to introduce our councillors in attendance tonight. First, we have Deputy Mayor Councillor Daniela Zini, Councillor Deb Gunn, Councillor Blair Colwell, Councillor David Lenberg, Councillor Laurie Cox, Councillor Jared Lappin, Councillor Nick Brooks, and we have live streaming Councillor Christine Stowe. I'd also like to introduce our Chief Executive Officer, Mr Craig Lloyd, and ask that Craig introduce the members of the executive leadership. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you, Mayor. So we have with us tonight the Director of Planning and Development, Emma Appleton, Director of Community Wellbeing, Agata Himalevsky, Director of Infrastructure and Environment, Debbie Wood, the Acting Director of Corporate and Customer Services, Aaron Gerard, Executive Manager of Public Affairs, Janine Morgan, and at the table here, Executive Manager of Office of Council and CEO, Jacinta Stevens. Thank you, Chair.
On behalf of Council, I recognise the rich Aboriginal heritage of this country and acknowledge the Wurundjeri Willem clan and the Taungurung people as the traditional owners of the lands within the City of Whittlesea. I would also like to personally acknowledge elders past, present and emerging. I will now read out our diversity and good governance statement. At the City of Whittlesea, we are proud of our diversity and of the many cultures, faiths, beliefs that make up our community. We strive to be an inclusive, welcoming city that fosters active participation, well-being and connection to each other and to the land. We commit as Council to making informed decisions to benefit the people of the City of Whittlesea now and into the future, to support our community's vision of a place for all. Apologies. I note that there are no apologies for this evening. Acknowledgements. Councillor Cox.
Thank you, Mayor. In relation to the recent King's Birthdays Honours list, on behalf of Council, I'd like to recognise the following. Mrs Lynn Harris from Bundoora for service to the community through social welfare organisations. Mrs Harris is the Director at Mill Park Community House, the Treasurer of the North East Neighbourhood House Network and a volunteer with the Whittlesea Disability Network. Mr Ian Shanks from Mill Park for service to the community through charitable organisations. Mr Shanks was the co-founder of the Full Life Foundation and served as its Director and Chief Executive Officer, working with a number of foundation partners, including World Vision Australia, Barefoot Initiative and International Needs Australia. And Mr Jeff McElvenna, a former councillor of the City of Whittlesea and the Shire of Whittlesea, from South Morang for service to the community through charitable organisations. Mr McElvenna has been involved in many charities, including the Rotary Club of Preston and the Children's First Foundation and the Whittlesea City Basketball Association. He also served as a City of Whittlesea councillor and a Shire councillor over a period of 11 years and a number of terms. He served as the Mayor of the City in 1993 and 94. I would also say Mr McElvenna was a former Senior Sergeant of Police in the Thomastown and the Reservoir and Mill Park stations. And as a long-term resident and a former councillor who served with me in the Shire, and his service in the basketball community has been exemplary. On behalf of Council, I recognise those three individuals for their service and congratulate them on the awards made.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Refugee Week. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Zini.
Thank you, Chair. This week is Refugee Week, and on Thursday, the City of Whittlesea will be hosting a special event in recognition of the important week. This year's theme, Finding Freedom, Diversity in Community, provides an opportunity for us all to celebrate the contributions of refugees and acknowledge the challenges they overcome to build and rebuild their lives. The event will be held here at the Civic Centre and will include a lively celebration featuring multicultural performances, music and a guest speaker. I encourage everyone to come along. The honour and to honour the journeys of our refugee community. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Last week we hosted a wonderful event to coincide with World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. The information session was presented by Senior Rights Victoria and provided valuable information for elder residents about their rights and support available to keep them safe and informed. Elder Abuse Awareness Day aims to raise awareness of and prevention of elder abuse and highlight the importance of the rights of elder people. The City of Whittlesea is proud to provide a range of services and programs for our older people in our community, and we recognise the important role we play in responding to suspected elder abuse situations. The City of Whittlesea Business Awards. I was honoured to present the City of Whittlesea Business Awards last month, coinciding with the CEO, where our business community gathered for a wonderful celebration and recognition of our vibrant local businesses. Congratulations to all the nominees and the following award recipients. The Startup Award, Joanne's Temple of Colonics and Wellbeing Centre. Customer Service Award, Fastflex Heating and Cooling Supplies. Innovation and Enterprise Award, Iconics. Suitability and Environmental Award, Aries Magnetics. Community Contributing Award to DPV Health. Workplace Diversity Award to NLA Logistics. Small Business Award to Lashes on Point Salon. And the City of Whittlesea Business Award of the Year, DPV Health. Also, I had the pleasure of recently attending the Northern Business Achievements Awards breakfast. The event was brought together business and community leaders from across the Northern region to celebrate innovation, entrepreneurship and outstanding contributions to our economy. Congratulations to Sharista Sharma, the founder and clinical director of Helping Hands Behaviour Support and receiving of the Young Achiever Award. Annual Report Award, Deputy Mayor, Councillor Senior.
Thank you, Chair. I'm delighted to share that the City of Whittlesea recently received a Gold Award at the Australasian Reporting Awards for our 2023-24 Annual Report and the Communication Award for the Public Sector. The 2023-24 report, with a theme of A Greener Tomorrow, today showcased Council's many sustainability initiatives to foster a climate resilient future for all, where our community can continue to work, live and thrive. Congratulations to all in bringing this report together. Thank you.
Thank you. Parks Award, Councillor Blair Colwell.
Thank you, Chair. I'm very proud to share that at the recent Parks and Leisure Victoria Tasmania Awards, the City of Whittlesea was awarded Park of the Year for the Whittlesea Public Garden Revitalisation in Laylaw. The redevelopment of the garden is a multi-stage project that has transformed the park with new features including a new playground, learn to ride area, skate park, rock climbing wall and a half-court basketball court. At the same award ceremony, Timbertop Park in Doreen received a commendation in the play space under $500,000 category. We're incredibly proud of these projects and the teams behind them, delivering innovative, inclusive and high-quality open space for our growing community. Whittlesea Public Gardens will now represent Victoria at the PLA National Awards later this year, and we wish them all the best. Thank you again, Chair. Congratulations to everyone involved in the Olivine Recreation Reserve project, which received a commendation award at the Institute of Public Works Engineering Australasian Awards last week. Council partnered with Mirvac to address community demands for a recreation facility by delivering 2 sports fields, pavilion, netball courts and skate park in the fast-growing Donnybrook area. Congratulations also to Laylaw Neighbourhood House Community Garden Project on being awarded the AILA Vic Landscape Architecture Award for community contribution. The project was delivered by Laylaw Neighbourhood House, with the City of Whittlesea also contributing towards the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Caldwell. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Zini.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to pass on my condolences to the family and friends of Leanne Murnane, who sadly passed away recently. Leanne volunteered her time and supported the community in various capacities, including the Whittlesea Country Music Festival, where she served as a secretary for 10 years. Leanne was well known and beloved in the Whittlesea Township and would like to acknowledge her contribution, both as part of the Whittlesea Country Music Festival and more broadly within the community. Our thoughts are with her family and friends. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillors, officers, if you have a conflict of interest in any item on the agenda, you may verbally disclose the type and nature of that interest now, but you must also make a declaration immediately before consideration of the matter in question. Councillors, are there any items for which you have a conflict of interest to declare? Do any officers present this evening have a conflict of interest on any items of tonight's agenda to declare?
No, Chair.
Confirmation of minutes. I now seek a motion to confirm the minutes of the preceding meetings. May I have a mover? Councillor Gunn. Seconder? Councillor Cox. So to confirming that the motion in question is that Council confirm the minutes of the preceding minutes as circulated, one scheduled meeting of Council held on the 20th of May 2025. I'd now put it to the vote. All in favour? Councillor Brooks, Councillor Cox, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Zini, Councillor Lemberg, Councillor Gunn, Councillor Caldwell and myself as Mayor. Councillor Taylor, motion carried unanimously. We now move to item 4.1.
Councillor Stowe?
Sorry, and Councillor Stowe, I beg your pardon.
Thank you.
We've now, that's unanimous and I pass it as being carried. Item 4.1, public question time. Council allows up to 30 minutes for public questions, petitions and joint letters from our community. Public questions will be read out by the CEO's delegate and responded to by the CEO. Any questions submitted that are not in accordance with the governance rules are either declined or held over to the next scheduled council meeting. All questions and responses will be included in the minutes of the council meeting. I note that we have received 3 public questions in accordance with the governance rules. No introductory or background statements in relation to the questions will be read out. I would now like to hand over to Jacinta Stevens, Executive Manager, Office of Council and CEO, to read the questions and for our CEO, Mr Craig Lloyd, to provide the response.
Thank you, Chair. Our first question is from Nick Brain. Nick's question is, can Council advise how it accommodated the views of the residents who express they want better services, better infrastructure and cost of living relief from the 25-26 budget?
Thank you, Nick, for your question. Council has carefully considered the views of the community throughout the development of the 25-26 draft budget, which will be considered by Council later this evening. A comprehensive community engagement process was undertaken, including an initial community survey, targeted focus groups and a formal public exhibition period. Feedback received from residents played a critical role in the shaping of the budget priorities. The 25-26 draft budget includes a total investment of $460.6 million, including $110.7 million in capital works. This funding supports the delivery of key infrastructure projects such as road upgrades, park and playground renewals. Council recognises the ongoing cost of living pressures and has maintained a range of supports, including the financial hardship policy, interest-free payment plans and flexible payment arrangements. The draft budget that Council will consider for adoption tonight reflects a commitment to responding to community needs whilst ensuring long-term financial sustainability. Thank you.
Our next question is from Emin. Can council please specify how the construction of small dams for low-level agricultural use and temporary structures to house chickens contravenes council's green wedge management plan?
And thank you, Emin, for the question. While we're unable to discuss specific sites, the City of Whittlesey's Green Wedge Management Plan provides a strategic framework to protect and manage the municipality's valued green wedge areas by preserving biodiversity, supporting sustainable land use and protecting cultural heritage. Whittlesey's Green Wedge has areas of high environmental value and also areas subject to significant environmental constraints, including areas prone to erosion and within important water catchments. To manage the environmental impacts of development in certain parts of Whittlesey's Green Wedge, the Whittlesey Planning Scheme restricts the development of buildings and structures on small lots, which are inappropriately sized for the development. The development of dams is also carefully managed through the planning controls to minimise the impacts of erosion and on water catchments. Council officers are available to discuss specific sites and what activities or alternatives may be suitable for the land in accordance with the Whittlesey Planning Scheme and the Green Wedge Management Plan.
Our last question is from Ross Lee. Can council please provide a list of all community organisations and committees that were formed during the administration period with the total amount of ratepayers' money contributed to each of them during the same time?
Thank you, Ross, for your question. The City of Whittlesey established one advisory committee during the term of administrators. The Business Advisory Panel was established in 2021, bringing together representatives from local businesses and industry and the City of Whittlesey to support the delivery of initiatives that deliver a strong local economy for our municipality. A budget of $1,500 is allocated each year to support the panel. The City of Whittlesey is not responsible for establishing community organisations. A full list of committees and the councillors appointed as representatives on these committees is available on our website. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, CEO. Item 4.2, petitions. I note that there are no petitions. Item 4.3, joint letters. I also note that there are no joint letters. We now move to item 5.1, State Government Planning System Reform and Submissions, and I now introduce Ms Emma Appleton, Director Planning and Development.
Thank you, Mayor. This report tonight provides an overview of the significant reform to the planning system currently being undertaken by state government. I'll now hand over to Liam, our Manager for Strategic Futures, who will take you through the report and recommendations.
Thank you, Emma. Since the state government released the Victorian Housing Statement in 2023, they have announced a number of significant changes to the planning system. These include the recent release of Plan for Victoria and several planning scheme amendments, including implementation of new planning controls for Epping. Council has made previous submissions to these processes. There has also been the more recent introduction of the new Townhouse and Low-Rise Development Code. The report presents the outcomes and recommendations of a recent parliamentary inquiry into these planning scheme amendments. The report also provides an overview of the current review of the Planning Environment Act and presents the Municipal Association Victoria's submission to this process, which has been prepared on behalf of the local government sector. The submission raises concern in respect to the process being undertaken, particularly in regard to the lack of engagement with local government and communities, and the recent planning reforms that reduce council's role in decision-making for planning applications. The submission advocates for a better way forward, recommending a comprehensive review and rewrite of the Act, in which the state government partners with local government to design and build a better planning system, with a focus on improving housing supply, location and affordability, climate change, natural hazards and environmental sustainability, and delivering infrastructure where and when it's needed. This report recommends that Council endorse the Municipal Association Victoria's submission to the Planning Environment Act review as Council's position in respect to the process, and write to the local members of Parliament advising of Council's support for the submission. Thank you.
Councillors, do you have any questions relating to this item? I confirm that the motion is, as per the officer recommendation which appears on the screen before you, Do I have a move of the motion of item 5.1? Councillor Zini. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Lappin. So Councillor Zini, just confirming that you are moving the motion of the officer recommendation as appears before you.
Yes, Chair, I'm moving the motion as per the officer recommendation.
Thank you. Would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, I would.
Councillor Lappin as the seconder, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, thank you, Chair.
Councillor Zini.
Thank you, Chair. From reading these documents, I share the concerns from the MAV, in particular the direction of the new townhouse and low-rise code. The changes will allow for a provision of deemed to comply, which basically sounds like a one-size-fits-all approach to approvals. Yes, we need more housing and the state government needs to streamline these planning processes. However, it seems that the trade-off is going to be less council consultation and community input that factor in the expertise of the surrounding infrastructure to ensure that these homes and developments are well supported and retain their suburb character. I think we need a gentle density rather than a high density near our train stations, and we hope that the state government hear what most councils are advocating for before the commencements of these new changes in November. So I fully support this officer recommendation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Zini. Councillor Lappin, in light of what Councillor Zini's comments for speaking to the motion, would you like to speak to the motion?
Just briefly, Chair. I just want to thank the officers for bringing this motion forward. I think it's important that even though the plan for Victoria and the Victorian Government's plan is agreed in principle on most points, I think it's important that Council has their perspective heard on issues which affect our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any councillors who would like to speak to the motion? Then I'll put it to the vote. Sorry, Councillor Cox.
Thank you, Mayor. Just briefly, I think it's important that people understand that this is not just being rushed through. It's a matter that we have been briefed on. We have read all the documents and we've read the proposals, and I thank the officers for bringing it back to in the way it has been. It's very important in terms of the Municipal Association, which I'm the delegate to, had a long discussion about this internally, as well as resolutions at the recent State Council. And it's very easy to say, not in my backyard. We do have a desperate housing shortage, and taking local government out of the planning process is not the answer. We need local government, we need local input. The reason the push has been made by the state government, in my view, is because of the actions of some that have been deliberately blocking process because they don't want it in their backyard. But we do need to be conscious that housing shortage is there. We need to do something about it. The policy document that we've adopted does deal with that and encourages involvement of the local government community within the planning process. Thank you.
Are there any other councillors who would like to speak to the motion? Then I'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Deputy Mayor Councillor Zini, Councillor Lemberg, Councillor Gunn, Councillor Caldwell, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Cox, Councillor Brooks, Councillor Stowe and myself, Councillor Taylor. The motion is passed unanimously. Now move to item 5.2, Q3, Community Grants Update, and I now introduce Mr Aaron Gerard, the Acting Director of Customer and Corporate Services.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everyone. The purpose of this report is to present to Council a brief overview of the Q3 community grants for the period ended 31 March 2025. I'll now hand over to our Manager, EPMO and Change, Adrian Napoleone.
Thank you, Aaron, and good evening, Mayor and Councillors. I present to you the Community Grants Report for Q3 for this 24-25 financial year. This quarter has seen a total of 22 grant applications processed with 11 approved, which is a fantastic result for this quarter, particularly being after the Christmas New Year period and generally a busy time for community. In comparison to the same time last year, the number of applications are relatively the same. However, for this quarter, applications for individual and small grants were taken offline for a short period of time in early March due to software testing and enhancement of our grant management system. The grants team continued to engage both internally and externally, with notable events being late February, working with the Whittlesea Playgroup Network, in mid-March, our community festival, and late February, meeting with Kirat Punjabi seniors. One quality assurance improvement process applied in this quarter was the inclusion of the subject matter expert review of applications submitted. The subject matter expert advice was reported to the Grant Management Steering Group when considering grant applications for medium and large grants to fairly consider grant applications further. This quarter also saw the successful allocation of the $200,000 under the Business Relocation and Growth Program, and due to timing and the additional information required on the applications received, applications under this grant for quarter 2 were considered in their entirety in quarter 3 and were approved, resulting in the full allocation of this fund. Overall, a very successful third quarter to the year, and I present this Q3 report for community grants and recommend that Council note the attached 24-25 Q3 overview report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillors, do we have any questions relating to this item?
Yes.
Yep. Councillor Stowe.
It's just a quick question. What's EPMO? I'm sorry if that's a silly question, but what is it?
Thank you for the question. EPMO is Enterprise Project Management Office.
Thanks. That was all.
Thank you. Councillors, any further questions in relation to this item? I now put to the motion. Do I have a motion for item 5.2 as appears on the screen? A mover? Councillor Cox.
I'd like to move the officer's recommendation.
Do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Councillor Stowe. Councillor Cox, I'm confirming that you are moving the motion of the officer recommendation as presented on the screen.
Correct.
Councillor Cox, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Mayor. I just make the point that this is a pleasing result in terms of community grants, and yourself and I attended the grants recognition ceremony last week, and it was an important event attended by those people who were successful in the grants process. Again, I need to emphasise though, the grants process is arm's length from the councillors. It is done in terms of a structure and an assessment by our staff. It's not controlled and it's not politicised, because I'm disappointed to hear time and time again accusations that the council is granting favours to favoured clubs. That was a process that was in place in my time in the past. This has been removed and it's been changed. And I think that, again, we had a question tonight about the committees that have been formed over a period of time. These are community groups that are selfless, that are acting on behalf of the community's interest, and this council is supporting them, either on an individual basis, on a group basis, and even a large grant basis. But it is arm's length from the councils. So this furphy and myth that's been put around that is politicised is absolute garbage and should be treated that way. So I'd note the report, welcome the efforts by our staff to go through this process, and I'm sure the community groups that have been successful are very supportive of the process and thankful the way they have been treated by this council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Councillor Stowe, would you like to speak to the motion? As the seconder?
Yes. Well, I'd just like to also say that I attended the grant celebration ceremony last week, and there was a lot of very good community groups doing wonderful work. The bike users group and the seniors groups and the exercise groups, the walking football, they were all really great groups. And I agree with what Councillor Cox says about, they're all selfless people doing great work in the community, and they all deserve. It's just amazing the things that people come up with, the community groups and the things that they do. So I just like to say thank you to all those selfless community members and the work that you do and the people that you help. And very pleased to be part of council that's able to support those groups. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stowe. Are there any councillors who would like to speak to the motion? I now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Deputy Mayor Councillor Zini, Councillor Lemberg, Councillor Gunn, Councillor Caldwell, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Cox, Councillor Brooks, Councillor Stowe, and myself, Councillor Taylor. I now unanimously pass the motion as carried. Now move to item 5.3, Community Vision. Again, I invite Aaron Gerard, the Acting Director, Customer and Corporate Services.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this report is to present to Council the reviewed and redesigned Community Vision, Whittlesea 2040, a place for all. I'll now hand over to Adrian Napoleoni, our Manager of EPMO and Change.
Thank you, Aaron. Good evening again, Mayor and Councillors. The purpose of this report is to present to Council the reviewed and redesigned Community Vision, Whittlesea 2040, a place for all. The Local Government Act 2020 requires a review of the community vision following a general election. We began this process in December 2024, gathering data and assessing trends. This included looking at the engagement data from the annual community priorities, engagement in recent years, and we produced a background paper that affirmed that the Whittlesea 2040, a place for all vision, continued to meet the needs of the community, and this paper was presented to Council in March 2025. Council advised their intention to retain the community vision, updating Whittlesea 2040, a place for all. Most notably, this update included incorporating high-performing organisation that was adopted as a fifth goal in 2022. We also updated quotes from community and statistics to reflect current community perspectives and trends. From 5th of April to the 4th of May, we engaged with the community through a number of focus groups, pop-up events, and online via Council's Engage platforms. Through the engagement, 94% of people affirmed their support for the continued alignment of Whittlesea 2040, a place for all, with community need. 93% of people affirmed the continued relevance of this vision. The community vision itself was then reviewed, and a redesigned version has been provided as attachment 1 to this report. The community vision document presented tonight meets the requirements of the Local Government Act, has been thoughtfully designed to connect with community, and most importantly, reflects the aspirations of our local community. Thank you.
Councillors, do you have any questions relating to this item? Do I have a motion for item 5.3? Councillor Zini. Councillor Zini, I'm confirming that the motion is the officer recommendation as appears before you. Is that correct?
Yes, I'd like to move the motion as officer recommendation.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Caldwell. Councillor Zini, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Chair. The review and the refresh of the community vision is again demonstrating to our community that our community continues to have a strong desire for the sense of belonging. I am delighted to support this vibrant vision document and present it to our residents. I encourage all the residents to have a look at this document. It is well executed and very beautiful to read. So hopefully they will be able to renew their hope within living in this municipality for their future. Thank you.
Councillor Caldwell, as the seconder, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, please, Chair. Through community consultation, we have been able to reaffirm the community's vision represents the hopes, aspirations and wishes of the community, with over 94% stating it meets their needs and 93% acknowledging that it continues to be relevant. The community vision will be a policy cornerstone ensuring council focuses on the expressed needs of the community, and it does this through its 5 pillars, focusing on community connectedness, livable neighbourhoods, strong local economy, sustainable environment, and a high-performing organisation. Pillars I'm sure we all agree align with our vision for the city and that of this community. I commend the officer's work in revising the community vision and support its adoption. Thank you.
Are there any other councillors who would like to speak to the motion? I now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sini, Councillor Lemberg, Councillor Gunn, Councillor Caldwell, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Cox, Councillor Brooks, Councillor Stowe and myself, Councillor Taylor. Motion is carried unanimously. I now move to item 5.4, Revenue and Rating Plan 2025 to 2026 to 2028 to 2029. I again introduce Mr Aaron Gerard, Acting Director, Customer and Corporate Services.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this report is to present to Council the Revenue and Rating Plan 2025-26 to 2028-29 for endorsement, in accordance with the Local Government Act 2020. I'll now hand over to our Acting Chief Financial Officer, Rahul Shah.
Thank you, Aaron, and good evening, everyone. The Revenue and Rating Plan forms a key pillar of Council's integrated planning and reporting framework and outlines how Council will calculate and collect revenue over the next 4 years to ensure the delivery of essential services, infrastructure, and community initiatives. While the plan does not set specific revenue targets, it established a strategic framework and guiding principles that ensure revenue is raised in a way that is equitable, transparent, and financially sustainable. The plan supports the delivery of the community plan and reflects Council's commitment to responsible financial management and community-focused decision-making. In developing this plan, Council undertook a comprehensive community engagement process across the 3 phases between August 2024 to May 2025. More than 1,100 community members participated through online contributions, pop-up events, and focus groups. Importantly, 81% of respondents to the final consultation phase indicated support for the proposed revenue and rating plan. The plan outlines how revenue will be equitably distributed across ratepayers and service users and provide a balanced approach to managing a range of income sources such as rates and charges, user fees, statutory fees and fines, grants, contributions, and investment income. Rate and charges remain Council's primary source of income, contributing approximately 48% of the total revenue. The plan includes strategies to manage this reliance in a financially responsible and community-sensitive manner. In summary, the Revenue and Rating Plan provides a fair, consistent, and strategic framework that positions Council to make informed, transparent, and financially sustainable decisions, ensuring we continue to deliver the high-quality services and infrastructure for our growing community while upholding the principles of sound financial management. I propose the recommendations as outlined in the report. Thank you.
Councillors, do you have any questions related to this item? Do I have a motion for item 5.4? Councillor Cox.
I move the officer's recommendation as published and shown on the screen.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Lemberg. Councillor Cox, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor. There's only 2 important meetings that really every councillor should be attending for this organisation in a mandatory sense, that being the statutory meeting and the election of the Mayor, the second being the budget process. The budget process is all about how we fund our projects and how we develop our community. It's very easy to say that we should make a cut. It's very easy to say that we should freeze our rates. It is nonsense to say that because no one is going to give you a freeze on the costs that they charge this council for delivery of services. No one is going to give us free developing infrastructure. What our community needs is a budget that delivers infrastructure for our newer developing areas, the Donnybrooks, the Doreens and the Woolworths and the Epping Norths and parts of Mernda. But we also have renewal obligations in Bundoora, Lawler, Thomastown, Epping, South Morang, Whittlesea. And all of those have to be met in some way and they have to be paid for. There is no magic pudding. You don't have the money tree sitting outside. A financially responsible council sits down and looks at the budget. We have been distracted for the last 6 months. There are many councillors sitting around this table that have got projects that they would love to have had discussed and would love to have incorporated into this budget process this year. We haven't been able to do that because of distraction. We are in a situation where coming to next year, every council, I'm sure, every council sitting around this table will have their projects on the table for their wards and they will want to see that delivered. It would be easy to do what other councils have done, to go to the Essential Services Commission and say, we want a 10% increase. We haven't done that because we understand there is a cost of living problem. We understand that we need to set an affordable rate, and we have done that in a responsible fashion. I can't go through every project in the time available, but I do say that this budget is sound, looks at our assets. We don't have a cash asset. We don't have a money bank sitting out the side. We have an asset based on bricks and mortar, asphalt on the tarmac, not cash. So from that point of view, this budget is responsible and should be supported totally by the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Councillor Lemberg, as the seconder, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes. We had some discussions earlier about 1,100 respondents, residents involved in giving their feedback. As a sample size, that's quite significant when you're looking at 250,000 residents. I think that's really important to keep into consideration. All councils across Victoria are in a very difficult position. We're being asked to provide more with less. And I think that Councillor Cox has really nailed it in the fact that, there's no money tree, there's no bank that we can just pull money from. We're either raising revenue through rates and user fees or through government contributions. Funding from other levels of government is drying up or is being shifted. So it's putting councils and particularly City of Whittlesea in a very difficult situation. I speak to members of the community every day of every week, and there's always the ask, can you reduce my rates? But, oh, by the way, I'd really like to have an extra rubbish service, or I'd really like the park down the road cleaned up. You can't have both of those things, one without the other. You have to have a solid base of rates and taxes when the other levels of government are not providing that revenue stream. So I absolutely support the motion and thank the council for the work they've done with us on the plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lemberg. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak to the motion? I now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Deputy Mayor Councillor Senior, Councillor Lemberg, Councillor Gunn, Councillor Caldwell, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Cox, Councillor Brooks, Councillor Stowe and myself as Mayor, Councillor Taylor. The motion is carried unanimously. We now move to item 5.5, the budget for the 2025-2026 and financial plan for 2025 and 2026 to 2034-2035. I again introduce Mr Aaron Gerard, the Acting Director, Customer and Corporate Services, and in accordance with our governance rules, I am using my discretion as Mayor to extend the officer speaking time to up to 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of the organisation, I am pleased to present to Council the Budget 2025-26 and the 10-year financial plan. These documents have been prepared in accordance with the requirements of the Local Government Act 2020 and have been developed to align with community priorities identified through consultation and Council's key strategic directions, ensuring we remain financially responsible while meeting the current needs of our growing community and securing a sustainable future. An extensive community engagement program informed the development of these key documents across multiple phases, starting from August 2024 to May 2025. Over 1,100 community members participated through online engagement, pop-up sessions, focus groups, and formal submissions, highlighting key priorities such as roads, public transport, parks and open space, community safety, and support for youth, older adults, and local businesses. Through these documents, Council remains committed to delivering critical investment in services, programs, and key infrastructure to support our rapidly growing community. For the 2025-26 financial year, Council will have an adjusted underlying deficit of 15.5 million and 4.6 million over 10 years, which is expected to be addressed through prudent financial management and reserve funding allocations to return Council to a surplus position. Council will allocate $349.9 million in 2025-26 and $4.1 billion over 10 years to continue to deliver essential services, including curbside waste collection, maternal and child health, libraries, and the maintenance of parks and open spaces. Additionally, Council will invest $110.7 million in 2025-26 and $1.1 billion over 10 years for new and upgraded infrastructure through our Capital Works program. This funding ensures strong investment across both growing and established areas of our municipality, with significant projects including the Regional Sports Precinct in Mernda, the Marnong Community Centre in Donnybrook, Edgars Creek Recreation Reserve in Wollert, and Huskisson Reserve Multipurpose Facility in Lawler. Our average rates in 2025-26 will increase by 3%, in line with the rate cap set by the Victorian Government under the Fair Go rating system. Council has worked diligently to identify operational efficiencies, reduce costs, and prioritise spending, ensuring we continue delivering critical services without seeking a variation to the rate cap. This is particularly important as ratepayers will also face additional financial pressures due to the state government's replacement of the Fire Services Property Levy with the newly introduced Emergency Services and Volunteers Fund. This change is expected to cause a significant rise in costs, with most property owners facing an increase of at least double the current charge. A significant financial challenge is the rising cost of waste management services. Historically, the City of Whittlesea has subsidised these charges for our residents, but in 2025-26, the Victorian Government's landfill levy will rise by 28% per tonne, and Council can no longer continue to subsidise this charge. As a result, waste charges have been set at $409.95 for the average household. Despite these changes, our waste charges remain among the lowest when compared to our neighbouring and growth councils. Council remains committed to supporting those experiencing vulnerability within our community and will continue subsidising state and federal contracted services such as aged care, ensuring critical services remain accessible. Over the next 10 years, Council will invest $18.2 million in community grants to foster social connection, support volunteers, and enhance wellbeing, while also maintaining its financial hardship program to assist those in need. In summary, these documents balance our commitment to responsible financial management with continued investment in essential services and programs, the upgrading of existing facilities and assets, the protection of our natural environment and open spaces, and the delivery of new infrastructure projects to accommodate our diverse and growing community. I propose the recommendations as outlined in the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillors, do you have any questions in relation to this item? Do I have a motion for item 5.5? Councillor Cox.
I'll start off with an oops. Forgetting that we were dealing with the rating revenue plan. My comments from the previous Sorry, I move the officer's recommendation as published and on the screen.
Thank you. And do I have a second, Councillor Gunn? Councillor Cox, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thank you. As I said, I start off with the noops. I covered most of the points in the previous comments that I made in relation to the revenue. Very similar circumstances, but again, I'll just emphasise that the submissions made, I congratulate the individuals that took the time to make the submissions, and each of those will be responded to post this meeting in terms of the outcome. You can see that we have taken the time to go through the document. We are aware, and as I said, we've been distracted, and unfortunately we probably haven't achieved what we wanted to achieve in this first 12 months of the elected council. But I'm sure this council is committed, is working collegiately, and will achieve this in the next 12 months. A hell of a lot more projects designed, aimed at the community, infrastructure, on what we need, and that's not decrying what's gone from the past and brought over from the administration period, but you are dealing with a budget now that's raising a total of nearly $242 million, and it's an important process. It is not something that's just a rubber stamp. There have been lots of discussions, there's been lots of process in the briefing periods and behind the scenes, and our officers have done some excellent work, which we congratulate them for. And again, we'll probably make your job a bit harder in the next 12 months because we'll be after a lot more infrastructure needs, and we'll be looking for state and federal government support throughout these projects, not just raising rates. And as I said earlier, this is about setting rates at an affordable level. And it's not just being done for fun. It's not just being done because the rate cap is there at 3%. We've seen Shire of Hepburn go and get a 10% increase for their rates through the Essential Services Commission. It's not something that we've done. It is available to us, but we're not doing that because we understand that people do have pressures on them and financial pressures. Our rate level is very competitive with municipalities at the same level, and we deliver as much as we can through that revenue process. So again, support the document and apologise for speaking most of it on the first one. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Councillor Gunn, as a seconder, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I don't know that there's a lot more that I can say that Laurie and Councillor Cox and Councillor Lemberg haven't already said previously. All of what was said in the previous motion does apply to this motion also. I would, however, like to add that this is a very well done document. Thank you so much to the teams that put this together. One of the major roles of a councillor and one of our mandatory roles as councillors is to be fiscally responsible. And I believe this is a budget that is fiscally responsible. And as Councillor Cox was saying, a lot of thought, a lot of discussion has gone into this behind the scenes in our briefings, looking at the budget itself and the rates. It hurts when rates go up, but it could have been a lot worse, as Councillor Cox said. There are other options available to us to increase rates a hell of a lot higher than what we have done, but in due consideration, we've kept them as low as possible. And it would be fiscally irresponsible for us not to raise rates to keep competitive with other councils and to keep competitive with the actual price of providing services to our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak to the motion? Councillor Zini.
Thank you, Chair. This budget, I believe, balances the difficult current situation of the cost of living impacts with the needs of the fast-growing population. it is still able to deliver what is expected on behalf of our community. This budget has funding commitments for parks, recreation and sporting infrastructure, such as Peter Hopper Lake in Mill Park and Botanica Park in Bundoora. I look forward to seeing the facilities there. The budget will continue to deliver quality services, new kindergartens at Stables Mill Park and the West Wollert Community Centre that are vital works needed for a growing population. This budget takes into consideration the new suburbs' needs as well as the needs of the established suburbs, which I feel is quite balanced. More than 880 people shared their thoughts on this budget. That's a lot more than last year. So I'd like to thank those residents who contributed to their voice to the budget. I also want to thank the skilled staff, not just the finance team, but all the teams that contributed to this, their great work and patience creating the draft budget and now the final budget. There's so many elements of a budget development, so moving forward for next year's budget, Council will continue to discuss, as always, what we feel is the best for the whole municipality and our future generations. So next year's budget will be just as considered and responsible as the one we're endorsing tonight. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Caldwell.
Thank you, Chair. Just to make a couple of comments, and echoing Councillor Cox's earlier statements, I think they were equally as relevant on both agenda items, and I was sharing his views as he rolled them out there. I want to highlight, obviously, participating in the Budget Submissions Committee and seeing firsthand that people first making written submission on the budget and also participating in oral submissions, and highlighting, one, thanking them for their participation in the process, how worthwhile it was hearing directly from community members on the budget, and also my enthusiasm for working with them to achieve the objectives that they've outlined through that process. So I thank them sincerely for their participation, and in saying that, I'll finish there. Cheers.
Thank you. Are there any other councillors who wish to speak to this motion? Councillor Stowe.
Sorry, my mic was off. Yeah, I'd just like to thank the team, all of the team, the officers who put this budget together, fiscally responsible team, and congratulate them on the budget. But I'd also like to thank all the councillors around the table working with you all throughout the year. We came together and we didn't know each other. It was a new council. And I think that we have done a heap of work together to bring this budget and to understand the whole process, me having been on council before. But I just wanted to thank everyone for the collegiate way that we've all worked together. Also like to thank the community for their contributions. I'm always happy to have feedback. I really want to engage with the community and hear what they want, because after all, we're a representative of the community. I'm really glad to see the contribution towards in Donnybrook, towards the community up there and getting the community facility going. What's really important to me is the family and community projects, and particularly the ageing, the ageing part of the budget, because I'm in those years of my life. And I was also pleased to hear that there's going to be $2 million towards community grants, because the community grants and the community organisations play a vital role in bringing and the fabric of our community together. So thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Stowe. I now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sini, Councillor Lemberg, Councillor Gunn, Councillor Caldwell, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Cox, Councillor Brooks, Councillor Stowe, and myself as Mayor, Councillor Taylor. I now have the motion as carried unanimously. Now let's move to item 5.6, Asset Plan. I introduce Debbie Wood, the Director of Infrastructure and Environment.
Thank you, Chair. Tonight, I'm very happy to be presenting to you the asset plan for 25-35, and I have my Manager of Assets and Facilities here with me, Jim, who will take you through the report. Thanks.
Thank you, Debbie, and good evening, councillors. It is with great pleasure that I present the draft Asset Plan 2025-35 for Council's consideration. The Asset Plan is a legislative requirement under Section 92 of the Local Government Act 2020. The purpose of the plan is to inform decision-making on how to best manage Council's infrastructure portfolio, which is worth $4.03 billion. The plan strategically aligns with the Community Plan, which supports the delivery of Council's commitments, the Financial Plan, ensuring infrastructure decisions are made within the scope of available resources for maintenance, renewal, upgrade, and the development of new assets. But most importantly, the Asset Plan has been developed through extensive deliberative engagement with the community, capturing the community's voice, which is reflected in the 8 guiding principles that profiles the community's priorities and values. In no particular order, the guiding principles are summarised as follows. Assets promote an active and healthy community and support community connectivity. Assets reflect a connection to First Peoples and cultural heritage. Assets meet the diverse and evolving needs of the community. They are equitable and accessible. They contribute to community safety. They are optimised for usability, and decisions considers environmental, social and financial sustainability to ensure long-term benefits. The plan is broken up into 2 sections. Section A outlines the planning principles, key considerations and assumptions. These include gender equality and intergenerational equity, ensuring fair access and benefits for current and future generations. Climate change, including flood mitigation and emergency management, use of technology and funding for the future. Section B profiles the state of our assets, including the importance of alignment with the strategic property and land plan, and it profiles the condition audit program and the rating methodology. The officer's recommendations are listed as within the report. Thank you, councillors.
Thank you. Councillors, do you have any questions relating to this item? Do I have a motion for item 5.6? Councillor Brooks.
I'm happy to move the motion of the officer's recommendation.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Gunn. Councillor Brooks, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, thank you, Chair.
Councillor Gunn is the seconder. Would you like to speak to the motion?
Just to say thank you again for the wonderful work that's gone into this plan, another great plan, and I think it will carry us forward beautifully into the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak to this motion? I now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. I have the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Zini, Councillor Lemberg, Councillor Gunn, Councillor Caldwell, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Cox, Councillor Brooks, Councillor Stowe, and myself as Mayor, Councillor Taylor. The motion is carried unanimously. Now I'd like to move to item 5.7, draft of the Edgars Creek Corridor Landscape Improvement Plan, and I again reintroduce Debbie Wood, the Director of Infrastructure and Environment.
Thank you, Chair. Another important plan for our open space that we are really happy to be presenting tonight. So I have Andrew here with me, our Coordinator Open Space Planning, just to run you through the report and take any questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Debbie. Good evening, councillors. Edgars Creek is a 20-kilometre waterway flowing through the Melbourne's northern suburbs, with 13 kilometres running through the city of Whittlesea. It passes through a mix of new developments and older suburban areas, reflecting both contemporary parkland and legacy drainage infrastructure. To guide future improvements, the City of Whittlesea has drafted a landscape improvement plan focused on enhancing the creek's ecological health, accessibility and community value. The plan builds on the Thomastown Laylaw Place framework and addresses gaps in infrastructure and aims to create a more connected, naturalised and welcoming corridor. The plan outlines specific actions across 6 precincts, from planting native vegetation and improving stormwater treatment to building paths, installing signage and creating moments of interaction with the creek. It also encourages community involvement through education and partnerships for creek corridor stewardship. These actions are grouped under 3 key themes: ecology and biodiversity, recreation and accessibility, and social and community engagement. Some initiatives are ready for action, while others are opportunities requiring further investigation. Next steps include community consultation, refining the plan, and developing a business case for long-term funding. A separate cultural value study developed with traditional owners will ensure cultural heritage is respected and reflected in future works. Officers recommend that Council note the draft landscape improvement plan and endorse it for public exhibition and consultation, marking a key step towards revitalising Edgars Creek as a vibrant, inclusive and resilient green corridor. Thank you.
Councillors, do you have any questions relating to this item? Do I have a motion for item 5.7?
I'm happy to move the motion.
Councillor Caldwell.
Yes, Chair. I would like to move the motion with the following points. Point 1 and point 2 of the officer recommendation to remain as listed on the screen, including a new point 3 to read, seek feedback on the Edgars Creek Corridor Landscape Improvement Plan from Whittlesea Reconciliation Group and Youth Council, and point 3 of the officer recommendation to become point 4. Thank you.
Do I have a seconder for this motion?
I'll second.
Councillor Caldwell, I'm just confirming that your motion is as the officer recommendation as amended on the screen.
Yes, confirming that.
Okay. Councillor Stowe.
Yes, I second the motion.
Thank you. Councillor Caldwell, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just very briefly. The Edgars Creek Corridor Landscape Improvement Plan draft has a significant ecological and biodiversity implications, aims to advance recreation and accessibility to the corridor and promote social and community engagement to the natural and peri-urban environment. I would like to encourage community engagement and consultation with the plan as we consider it in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Stowe, as the Secretary, would you like to speak to the motion?
The only thing that I would say is that I think it's a worthy addition to the motion to have the Indigenous Reconciliation Group and the Youth Council also included in the discussions, but nothing further.
Thank you. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak to the motion? Councillor Cox.
Thank you, Mayor. I think our waterways are very important within the municipality, and I note in the background material where the Edgars Creek joins the Merry Creek is in fact where I grew up, at the bottom of McKay's Farm Hill. And the tributaries up here, whilst previously going through farmland, it's important to understand that we need to ensure that these are protected in the future and looked after. We do some great work, and both ourselves and the water authorities, and unfortunately sometimes that comes a little unstuck when we see great collections of rubbish floating around the place, caught up in the reeds and caught up in the water flows. So it's important that we have this plan on tap and people involved in it. It's the amendment that's been put, or the amended motion that's now been put to have the Whittlesea Reconciliation Group and the Youth Council involved in the discussion process as part of the advisory is important. And it shows advisory groups do work. They're not just appointed for the sake of being appointed. They're there to be consulted and be actively involved. And I encourage that resolution to be adopted in full. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. I now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Zini, Councillor Lemberg, Councillor Gunn, Councillor Caldwell, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Cox, Councillor Brooks, Councillor Stowe and myself, Councillor Taylor. The motion is carried unanimously. I now move to item 5.8, 2025 to 2038 fuel contract. Again, I introduce Debbie Wood, the Director of Infrastructure and Environment.
Thank you, Chair. And I have here with me my Manager of Maintenance and Operations, James, who will take you through the report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Debbie, and thank you, councillors. Tonight we seek your endorsement to use the head panel contract established by the National Procurement Network for the supply of fuel and fuel-related products across a 10-year term for the amount listed within the report. The National Procurement Network was engaged by the Municipal Association of Victoria in 2024 and performed collaborative procurement on behalf of its partners to establish competitive pricing for the supply of fuel. We now have an opportunity to engage with that contract, and we're likely to receive pricing far more competitive than what we could achieve independently. So tonight we seek your endorsement to use that panel arrangement and to enter into contracts for the supply of fuel with Ampol and BP, and to enter into contracts for the supply of oil and lubricants with Ampol and Castrol. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Councillors, do you have any questions relating to this item? Do I have a motion for item 5.8? Councillor Lappin.
I support the officer's recommendation on the screen. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Gunn. Councillor Lappin, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, thank you, Chair.
Councillor Gunn is the seconder. Would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just very quickly, I think this is a good motion. Again, being fiscally responsible, the outcomes of this, as pointed out, are a lot better than if we had entered into arrangements individually, and I think this is getting better bang for our buck as ratepayers of this city. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other councillors who'd like to speak to the motion? Councillor Colwell.
Thank you, Chair. This is obviously one of the more exciting agenda items that we have on tonight's agenda, and I say that in jest, of course, but I think it demonstrates an innovative way of finding and identifying savings that we have, and it just demonstrates council's ongoing work to try and find value for money for the community. So I thought I'd just make sure I took this time to speak to the motion and the work that's gone on with the officers that have negotiated the contract and done the work, and obviously teamed up with various other organisations across the sector. So I speak to this motion supporting it and the work that's gone towards doing it and identifying those savings. Thank you.
Any other councillors like to speak to the motion? Then I'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Deputy Mayor Councillor Zini, Councillor Lemberg, Councillor Gunn, Councillor Caldwell, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Cox, Councillor Brooks, Councillor Stowe, and myself, Martin Taylor, as Mayor. The motion is now carried unanimously. I now move to item 5.9, the 2025-16 construction of Stables Kindergarten. And I reintroduce Debbie Wood, the Director of Infrastructure and Environment.
Thank you, Chair, and I'm hoping to continue to bring exciting reports to you. So this one is for the construction of the Stables Kindergarten, and I have our Acting Coordinator of Major Works here, Anita, to take you through the report.
This report seeks Council approval to award contract number 2025-16 for the redevelopment of the Stables Kindergarten in Windmill Park. The project includes demolishing the existing one-room kindergarten, which currently accommodates 30 children, and constructing a new modern facility with 2 rooms to accommodate up to 66 children, plus outdoor play areas, staff amenities, and a sealed car park. To ensure continuity of kindergarten services during construction, the operations will be relocated to recently upgraded Mill Park Drive Children's Centre. The construction is planned to start in July 2025, with the new facility opening in Term 1 2027. The sustainability measures include solar panels, rainwater reuse, double glazing, and permeable paving. The project is jointly funded by the state government through the Victorian School Building Authority with a $4 million contribution and council contributing $1.575 million. This brings the total project budget to $5.575 million. The current forecasted project cost is $5.27, which is well within the project budget. A total of 15 tender submissions were received. The recommended tenderer, ESA Group Private Limited, was the highest ranked and offered the best value for money, demonstrating strong capability and capacity to meet council's scope and quality requirements. It is recommended that council award the contract number 2025-16 to ESA Group for a lump sum of $4.175 million, approve the funding arrangement, and authorize the CEO to sign the contract. Thank you.
Councillors, do you have any questions in relation to this item? Do I have a motion for item 5.9? Councillor Zini.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move the motion as per the officer recommendation.
Do I have a seconder for this motion? Councillor Caldwell. Councillor Zini, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, Chair, thank you. This well-loved kindergarten is run by a community of volunteer management of parents and who come together for the children. And I want to acknowledge the community spirit and dedication. It's great to see the community will have a new kindergarten which has such a beautiful design, especially considering that it has a sustainability design, which I'm very happy with. The dual room is obviously demonstrating the need for the increase from our population in our growth corridor. So I'm very happy to see that, and I wish the director, the staff and all the parents and volunteers the best in the transition into the exciting new kindergarten there. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Caldwell, as the secretary, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, please, Chair. I had the pleasure of attending the Stables Kindergarten with the Honourable Lily D'Ambrosio and Colin Brooks as one of my first responsibilities as a councillor. It was announced at that meeting or that session that the Victorian Government will be contributing 75% to the cost of the reconstruction of the Stables Kindergarten, with Council contributing the final 25% of that $4.175 million project. It's an interesting twist of fate that would be one of my first official obligations as a councillor, because I'm reliably informed that my mum was one of the founding committee members for the Stables Kindergarten when they came together to fundraise and find money to, I guess, encourage the state government to initially build that facility. I didn't attend that kindergarten. I went on to a different kindergarten, but I think still nevertheless, that's an interesting thing. Renewal of important infrastructure supporting the social and emotional and educational development needs of children in the local community is so important. I look forward to this infrastructure contributing to the lifelong learning journey that the children of future generations will have who visit the Stables Kindergarten. I look forward to the delivery of this in the future. Thank you.
Are there any other councillors who wish to speak to the motion? I now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, raise your hand. I note Councillor Zini, Deputy Mayor, Councillor Lemberg, Councillor Gunn, Councillor Caldwell, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Cox, Councillor Brooks, Councillor Stowe and myself, Councillor Taylor. The motion is carried unanimously. I now move to item 5.10, the 2018-132 supply of road drainage and associated street lighting. And I reintroduce Debbie Wood, the Director of Infrastructure and Environment.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, so this report is for supply of road drainage and associated street lighting works, and I have our Unit Manager of Engineering, Design and Construction here, Morris, to talk us through the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, councillors. This report seeks council approval to extend the term of this contract for 12 months from 1st of July 2025 to 30th of June 2026. This contract enables the efficient, cost-effective and high-quality delivery of civil engineering infrastructure projects under Council's Capital Works program, such as roadworks, drainage upgrades, shared user paths, traffic management treatments and street lighting. The purpose of the extension is to meet the above operational requirements for the 25-26 financial year and to provide additional time for officers to complete the complex procurement process for the new civil panel contract. The current contract was awarded by Council in December 2019 with a total expenditure limit of $45 million, excluding GST. As at the end of April 2025, the contract expenditure was $31.2 million, excluding GST. Therefore, no financial variation is required to accommodate the proposed 12-month time extension. As a separate matter, Council officers have commenced the procurement process for a replacement civil works panel contract to commence on 1st of July 2026, with enhanced features such as the incorporation of sustainable materials and allowance for new competition through a panel refresh option. It is recommended that Council approves this time extension variation as proposed in the Council report. Thank you.
Thank you, Morris. Councillors, do you have any questions relating to this item? Do I have a motion for item 5.10? Councillor Brooks.
I'll move the motion of the officer recommendation.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Lenberg. Councillor Brooks, would you like to speak to the motion?
As much as my colleague would like to implore me to speak with passion about this one, I have nothing further to add on this.
Thank you for that very compassionate opening. Councillor Lenberg, as the seconder, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I think that the community looking at this would see the large numbers, 37 million, 50 million. I just wanted to assure you that these numbers are discussed at length in council briefings. Increases are questioned. We want to understand the reasons why. In this case, there are only a few contractors that can provide works of this kind anyway, so it does limit our ability to get alternative sources. But I support the motion and thank the officers for the work that they've done in bringing this to our attention. Thank you.
Are there any other councillors who wish to speak to the motion? Then I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sini, Councillor Lenberg, Councillor Gunn, Councillor Caldwell, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Cox, Councillor Brooks, Councillor Stowe, and myself, Councillor Taylor. The motion is carried unanimously. I now move to item 5.11 of 2019-78, supply of asphalt works and materials, and I reintroduce again Debbie Wood, the Director of Infrastructure and Environment.
Thank you, Chair. Keeping the excitement going with the asphalt works and materials contract. So I have Morris here with me again, who will take you through the report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you again, Debbie and councillors. This report seeks council approval to extend both the term of this contract for 12 months, from 1st July 2025 to 30th June 2026, and to increase the contract sum by $12 million. All the figures I'll be quoting are excluding GST. The predominant purpose of this contract is to enable delivery of Council's roads, resurfacing and rehabilitation projects with a minor component for the supply of asphalt for Council's maintenance operations. The purpose of these variations is to meet the above operational requirements for the 25-26 financial year and to provide additional time for officers to complete the complex procurement process for a new asphalt panel contract. The current contract was awarded by Council in June 2020 with a total expenditure limit of $37 million. This contract sum was varied in accordance with Council's procurement policy by $1.82 million to $38.82 million in September 2024. As at the end of April 2025, the total expenditure of this contract was $37.48 million. The proposed financial variation will therefore increase the contract value to $50.82 million. As a separate matter, Council officers have commenced the procurement process for a replacement asphalt works panel contract to commence on 1st July 2026 with enhanced features such as the incorporation of sustainable materials and allowance for new competition through a panel refresh option. It is recommended that Council approves the time extension and contract sum variations as proposed in the Council report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillors, do you have any questions relating to this item? Do I have a motion for item 5.11? Councillor Cox.
Trying best to encourage Councillor Brooks, but I'll I'll move the officer's recommendation as published.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Zini. Councillor Cox, would you like to speak to the motion?
Just briefly, look, I'd echo Councillor Lenberg's words from the previous resolution. These contracts, they're not a laughing matter, despite my colleague here not speaking. But we are in a situation where they're important contracts. They're, again, being fiscally responsible as a council to make sure that we are delivering services at costs as appropriate. And the previous contract, we were fortunate it was overestimated because there was no requirement to extend the amount. On this contract, unfortunately, we do have to extend the amount. But again, it's for the 12-month period, and the panel process will complete within that 12-month period. And again, it's important that we are acting fiscally responsible as councillors. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Zini, as seconder, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, Chair. I'd just like to echo what Councillor Cox has stated about these contracts, and obviously they're hard to put your head around because of the figures being so large. But I trust that the people working and the officers working on this have looked at it in great detail, and we've looked at the report, so I'm happy to support this officer recommendation. Thank you.
Are there any other councillors who wish to speak to the motion? At this time, I'll take a short adjournment until 7:31 p.m. Thank you. there any other councillors who wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Caldwell.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to propose an amendment, and that being at point 4, authorise the CEO to sign the contract extension and authorise payment to an amount not exceeding 50.818 million, excluding GST. Thank you.
Councillor Cox has the move. Do you accept the motion?
Accept the amendment. Thank you.
I now put the motion to the vote. Councillor Zini, do you accept the amendments to the motion?
I do accept point 4, the amendments of this motion.
Thank you very much. I now put the motion to a vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Zini, Councillor Lemberg, Councillor Gunn, Councillor Caldwell, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Cox, Councillor Brooks, Councillor Stowe and myself, Councillor Taylor. The motion is carried unanimously. I now move to item 5.12, Governance Report. And I introduce Jacinta Stevens, the Executive Manager, Office of Council and CEO.
Thank you, Chair. Tonight's governance report provides a summary of the Audit and Risk Committee's meeting minutes from the 13th of May 2025. At that meeting, the committee considered such things as their annual 2025-26 work plan that details reporting requirements for officers to present reports to the committee, Council's quarterly report on strategic and operational risks, the 2025-26 internal audit plan that Council's external auditors will work with when undertaking audits across the next financial year, the corporate performance report for the quarter ending 31 March 2025 that covers financial information, community plan actions, good governance and capital work program status updates. A summary of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting minutes is made available on Council's website and is presented to Council tonight for noting. Thank you.
Councillors, do you have any questions relating to this item? Do I have a motion for item 5.12? Councillor Cox.
I'll move the noting of the report as the officer's recommendation.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Gunn. Councillor Cox, would you like to speak to the motion?
Again, Mayor, this is a short governance report, and I know we're only noting it, but I think it's important to emphasise to residents and ratepayers, this is the checks and balances on a council. It's not simply we turn up, sit here, put our hands up and everything's endorsed. I mean, there is a lot of process behind the scenes. It's like the duck moving along the water. There's a lot of paddling going on underneath. This is what our briefing processes were about. But in terms of our financial responsibilities, we have an independent audit and risk process. And those independents are the people that are meeting and checking what we do as an organisation to maintain us as a high-performing organisation. And people should be aware that this is the process of council. It's not simply we're here for one meeting and a short meeting and everything's hunky-dory and we move on. This is being done in a formal and a process way and a responsible way. And I think that that's a message that I really want to see carried through. There's lots of accusations about what councils do and don't do. This is one of the things that is the actual checks and balances on risk and what we do as an organisation. So thank you and move the resolution.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Councillor Gunn is the seconder. Would you like to speak to the motion?
I don't think there's anything more I can add. Thank you.
Are there any other councillors who would like to speak to this motion? Councillor Lemberg.
Thank you, Mayor. I was fortunate enough to attend the 3-hour meeting and it was actually thoroughly entertaining. The independent members of the committee are very experienced. They were actually able to benchmark what we were doing here at the City of Whittlesea against other councils, and we are doing exceptionally well in their opinion. It was great for me to be able to hear that. We're obviously very supportive of the council executive and all the work that they do, but to hear that from an independent means just bolsters my opinions that we're heading in the right direction. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the next meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Lemberg. Are there any further councillors who wish to speak to this motion? I now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Zini, Councillor Lemberg, Councillor Gunn, Councillor Colwell, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Cox, Councillor Brooks, Councillor Stowe, and myself as Mayor, Councillor Taylor. The motion is carried unanimously. I now move to item 6, notice of motions. I note that there are no notice of motions. Item 7, general business. Councillors, are there any item of general business? CEO, do you have any items of general business?
No, Chair. Thank you.
One of the favourite points that I look forward to at any scheduled council meeting is the reports of council representatives and the CEO update. As to the council reports, I will now call on councillors to read out their report of activities since the last council meeting. Councillor Gunn, would you like to read out your report of activities since your last council meeting?
Thank you, Chair. I also was very pleased to attend the City of Whittlesea Business Awards. It was an absolutely wonderful event that was held at the PRAC. This event highlighted some of the amazing businesses that are in the City of Whittlesea, and I wish to extend my congratulations to all who were nominated. It is such an achievement to get that far. And overall congratulations to the winners. It was just thoroughly inspiring to see these businesses thriving and calling our City of Whittlesea home. I've been meeting with people around the community and also with our state and federal members of Parliament. I've been involved with a couple of panels and getting stuck into the usual briefings and reading of all of our documents. And I just was making a slight joke during our brief recess that tonight we've covered off rates, we've covered off roads, and I'm hoping that everyone reads their scoop because that covers off on rubbish. Thank you.
Councillor Colwell.
Thank you, Chair. On May 15th, I attended the Hume Whittlesea LEN AGM and also the Whittlesea Youth Commitment 25 years celebration. On May 26th, I attended the Whittlesea National Sorry Day event here at the council offices. And on June 10, I attended the Community Grant Celebration Forum. With the remainder of my time, I also wanted to spend some time acknowledging Jeff McElveener, who Councillor Cox has already highlighted, who received OAM as part of the King's birthday celebrations. He's the godfather to my sister and also my primary school, South Morang Primary Council President. He's also been involved in Whittlesea City Basketball Association. He's a lifetime member. He's been a long-time councillor and two-time mayor. He's a returned serviceman with service in the Vietnam War as a military police officer through 69 and 70, and also a Victoria Police Officer, Senior Sergeant, serving with distinction. And finally, a staunch community champion. I'm sure some around this table can reflect on Jeff's more prickly edges, as I can, but whenever community members found themselves in need or a point of crisis where courage, composure, and at times a touch of compassion was required, you went to Jeff, you wanted Jeff in your corner. So I wanted to take this moment to congratulate Jeff on his life of service and also his recognition that he's received. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I also attended the City of Whittlesea Business Awards. It was a great night and I could get out my little bow tie and celebrate with the rest of the gang, which is really awesome. Again, congratulations to all the nominees and of course the winners in each category. I too was blown away by what these businesses are doing in our community. I intend to reach out and meet with all the businesses. So I've met with Big Group Hug, Bernadine Voss, and Edlin Foods on Monday, Amir Ajmand. Also, congratulations, Amir, on being appointed as CEO of Edlin Foods. That's amazing. You are definitely the best man for the job. Both businesses are also on the advisory panel. I also attended the Shiv Shakti Arts, Culture and Yoga Centre to understand more about the proposed centre, which is in planning at the moment. From my perspective, we all need to understand both sides of the story and get a balanced view of the application, which is why I was there. I also attended the Community Group Forum Celebration, Grant Celebration. I met with many grant recipients, heard incredible stories of support and passion across Whittlesea. A couple of notes: inspirational leadership, dealing with some of our communities most at risk, reducing isolation in elderly communities, working with youth to navigate our complex world, and getting people out and about through sports and connection. A fantastic night, and thank you to all those that I met on that evening. 30 seconds to go. I also attended the Dragon Boat Festival, which was a fantastic event supporting diversity in the City of Whittlesea community. The Chinese first arrived in Australia in 1818, and then during the gold rush, over 12,000 Chinese immigrants arrived in the goldfields. So this was definitely an Australian event, and I was so proud to be there. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I met with the leaders of the River Gum Cricket and Football Club to take a look at Kellynack Reserve, Master Plan in Mill Park, and some of the members are here tonight, so thank you for attending. Kellynack Reserve is a well-utilised community facility and sporting area. We spoke about the needs of the new pavilion, especially for female toilets and club rooms to be renovated. I will continue to advocate for the club's plans into the future. I want to acknowledge the club's budget submission this year and thank them for their dedication to the community. I look forward to working with them to achieve a positive outcome. I had the pleasure of attending the Australasian Reporting Awards dinner at Crown, where a City of Whittlesea won gold for communications in public sector. Communication from local government to community needs to be well executed. This ensures we are keeping people informed, educated and heard. Reliable messaging ensures people have accurate information when they need it most. So I want to again congratulate the team for an outstanding accolade. Thank you.
Thank you. Just the regular councillor briefings on the 27th of May and 3rd of June. In addition, I went to the Dragon Boat Festival as well at the Pipeworks Market in Thomastown. Probably also just to point out to people that it has moved and there's probably not as available or as it should be. So it was good to actually see that, and probably one of the areas that we could probably need some more advertising and more encouragement to get people to that market. Also, the Greek Food and Wine Festival in Thomastown, which is associated with the Orthodox Church as well. So it was very good to see some very strong cultural displays and some proud people in regards to their heritage, and it was very, very good to be a part of that, and that has been it so far. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I think a number of the events have already been covered. The National Sorry Day event I attended with yourself as the Mayor and Councillor Cole. It was well attended by the public and a number of schools, and I think it was well received, and it was an excellent recognition or commemoration of the Sorry Day. I know you as Mayor did acknowledge that as your first Sorry Day. I've done it previously, but I think people did appreciate the effort that was put in, the walk around, the smoking ceremony, and the recognition of people. And the guest speaker, Ian Ham, did a fantastic job as well. I attended the Business Awards, as did others, and the Northern Business Achievement Awards, and Councillor Stowe was also in attendance, and I acknowledge that I did not mention Councillor Stowe during the community grants recognition, and I apologise for that. But both of those events were again Whittlesea showing that we are active in our community and recognising our local community and particularly our business community. And our jobs rely upon that, and we expect to continue that support for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So on the 30th of May, I attended the City of Whittlesea Business Awards, which was, as Deb Gunn has said, Councillor Gunn, sorry, has said, was a fantastic night, and all those businesses there are the real winners, Mayor, because everyone did fantastic. Also on the 31st of May, I did a ride with the Whitbug group, and so we rode from South Morang all the way to Strathewen. So it was about 65 Ks, and I was extremely confident I could do that. And I did finish it, but I was pretty tired. But it was a great ride. And that group was very supportive of a new rider coming in, and they're a great group to get involved in. On the 5th of June, I did 3 separate things. I went to the Mernda Neighbourhood House and met with the Whittlesea Climate Action Network, which is run by Sunny. And that group is about raising awareness for climate change in the area and also ways which the community can get involved at the grassroots level. And I think that's a fantastic idea. And so we shared ideas with Sunny, Jeff, Malcolm and Paris at the Neighbourhood House. Later that day, I went down to the City of Melbourne and attended the Northern Alliance of Greenhouse Action Committee. At that committee, I was, elected chair for the year, so that's exciting there. Later in the day, I attended the committee meeting for the Mernda Garden up near the Chrome Estate and met with Ethan and Kelly there, just discussing ways we can get more membership there at the garden and grow that and make that a more diverse group. On the 10th of June, I attended the Community Grants event and celebration here at Council. Once again, it was great to see all those groups come out and really share what's important to them and get that recognition from Council. And then on the 14th of June, I attended the Mernda Football and Netball Club Sponsor Day, and there I met with Tom, Glenn and Donna. And we spoke about their facility there and ways we can improve that facility and really get that to be the best it can be in the future. So it was really good to go down there and meet with them. And I got a scarf, which was fantastic. So thank you.
Councillor Stowe.
Thank you. Congratulations, Councillor Lappin, on being elected Chair of the Sustainability Committee, but also on the bike ride to all the way to Strathewen. Well done. So over the last month, I participated in the National Simultaneous Reading event, and I read to the children in Whittlesea. And I'm really proud to say that they all signed my book. I can't say that, but they all signed the book. They all lined up, so I was very pleased that they all did that. This month, I also attended the You Are Not Alone conference, a very sobering conference at the Abbotsford Convent. It was celebrating 50 years of women, supporting women, and they had a tree with all the ribbons on the tree. There were 78 ribbons of women who have been murdered this year due to domestic violence. So I heard some of the harrowing stories there. I also attended the MFB online meeting, the Not in Our Name meeting regarding the emergency services levy, and they're not very pleased about having it collected in their name and collected by council. So the slides are available if anybody's interested in actually seeing the slides of the presentation. I can send them on over to you. Also attended the grants event, which was great, and saw many people doing amazing things. It's already been covered. Also attended the NBAA, the Northern Business Awards breakfast, and the great businesses that we presented there. So there's the ERAS global leader in magnetic separation, that's close to my heart, IFAS Civil Construction, and the Helping Hands. And there's many, many more, but that's about all I've got time for.
Thank you, Councillor Stowe, and thank you for being able to demonstrate your invisible ink in relation to the signatures on your book. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to now present my report as the Mayor. I won't go into too much detail because I have attended, not including minutes and meetings, I have attended 23 events in my capacity of Mayor since our last meeting. I will say this, the mayor position, ladies and gentlemen, is a full-time position, and as such works very closely with this council, which is demonstrating excellent good governance, which you would see by tonight's meeting. It is an honour to work with a council as dedicated to the municipality as what this council is, and I will continue working hard in that nature to achieve what we are achieving, and that is maximum coverage of our municipality and interaction with our municipality. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to do this. Should you want a councillor or a mayor, or both the mayor and a councillor of your ward to attend any event to which you are holding, please contact the City of Whittlesea website and access the processes for requesting the mayor and councillor to attend your special event. I encourage you to do that. Councillors have been approached, as I have, by numerous organisations requesting, what does the mayor do? What do councillors do? I have questions to ask. So to let you know that there are now approximately 7 senior meetings scheduled for councillors and the mayor to attend, to speak to the public, to address their issues in relation to council and council operations, and to substantiate to them the very effective work that this council is performing for their wards and for the municipality. Thank you. I now move to item 8.2, CEO update.
Thank you, Mayor. Council will soon begin work on upgrading the Reed Street car park that services the Gorge Road shopping precinct in South Morang. This is going to expand the car park to 85 places, replacing existing lights with energy efficient LEDs and adding new trees to provide shade. This project follows the recently completed upgrade of the Gorge Road shopping precinct, which included installation of outdoor dining, seating, bins, bike racks, street lights and changes to parking. The businesses trading along Gorge Road will continue trading as normal throughout the car park works. The Gorge Road project was supported by the Victorian Government via a grant from its Growing Suburbs Fund. We know how important dog parks are to our residents, and I'm pleased to advise we recently completed works on 2 local parks, a new dog park at Alumbra Park in Wollert, featuring a fully fenced off leashed dog area with a quiet dog zone, shelters, drinking fountains, park furniture and garden beds. Work to upgrade the off-leash dog park at Whittlesea Public Gardens in Laylaw is also finished, with users enjoying the new shelters, upgraded furniture, improved fencing and much more. The Alumbra Park project received $500,000 and the Whittlesea Public Gardens project $340,000 from the Victorian Government's Open Space for Everyone new and upgraded dog parks program, and Council contributed $80,000 to the Whittlesea Public Garden dog park project. Council is inviting residents to take part in a review of our public toilet amenity plan, with a 5-week community consultation process opening yesterday. Public toilets play a vital role in supporting people of all ages and abilities as they go about their everyday social, commercial and recreational activities. Residents are invited to have their say on where the new public toilets should be located, which existing public toilets should be upgraded and what features are preferred in public toilets. Following feedback from the community, Council will develop an updated plan for consideration at a future Council meeting. We've also recently commenced an in-house curbside bin compliance program, and in the first 6 weeks of the program, the team has inspected 2,140 household collections and directly engaged with 250 people about how to put the right things in the right bin. Households who've had their bin inspected or receive further information to help them sort their waste correctly. The program is helping Council reduce costs and improve the quality of our green waste, recycling and glass bins by reducing contamination. If you'd like to know more about the bin inspections or how to dispose of your waste correctly, please visit our website. And finally, as you've mentioned tonight, we have a dedicated and talented workforce here at Council, and I'm delighted to report that at the recent Parks and Leisure Victoria Tasmania Awards, our Sport and Recreation Officer Jacinta Ganino was nominated for the David Aldous Emerging Leader Award. Jacinta has a passion for the role sport can play in people's physical and mental well-being and in developing an inclusive society. Jacinta's leadership skills and passion have also been on display as a facilitator at SALT, Sport and Life Training, and in the Change Our Game program for the next generation leaders. Congratulations, Jacinta.
Thanks very much, Craig. I note that all these verbal reports will be documented in the minutes. I now move to item 9, tabled reports. I note that I do not have any reports to be tabled tonight. Item 10, confidential business. I note we do not have any items for confidential business. Therefore, I move now to item 11, which is closure. This brings us to the end of the meeting, and I therefore close the meeting at 7:56 p.m. Thank you.